السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله الأمين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم صل وسلم وزد وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. So I have 10 minutes, right? Who's going to keep me on time? Need someone to keep? I am, but you all? Inshallah. I used 26 seconds, so I still have time. So, inshallah ta'ala, I just want to share some thoughts with you guys. I'm not a sheikh or anything. Alhamdulillah, I have a beautiful sheikh here, so just share some thoughts. A year before the hijrah of the Prophet ﷺ, a group of people from Medina, they started talking and saying that things were really bad in Mecca, right? Things were going really bad in Mecca. The Prophet ﷺ was tortured, his companions were killed, things just were not cool at all. So this group of people in what was called Yathrib at the time, they said, yo, you gotta do something. You can't just leave the Prophet like that. So they said, how about we're gonna go to him and tell him, Rasulullah, come hang out with us. Come from Mecca to Medina and stay with us. And we got you back. So they went to the Prophet ﷺ. And they told the Prophet, they had a meeting with the Prophet and he said, come with us, we got you. So he said, but we have to agree. So he said, you guys have to obey me, you have to listen to me, you have to do this, you have to do, and a bunch of things. So they said, easy, we got this, right? Sure, no problem. So they were leaving and everything was good. A man by the name of Abbas, not the uncle of the Prophet ﷺ, but a different Abbas. He said, well, hold on a second. You guys know what you're signing up for. It's not an easy, let's just go, the Prophet goes from Mecca to Medina, and khalas, it's over. No. It's not going to be like that. Because the people of Quraysh are not going to leave you alone. They will come after the Prophet ﷺ. They will make sure that his message is terminated for good. They're not going to just like, oh, he moved from Mecca, khalas, we're good. Let's just go worship our idols, no big deal. No. So they said, oh, hold on a second here. It's not a small thing. He said you will have to sacrifice your lives, your money, your families, your houses. You have to stand and protect the Prophet ﷺ. It's not an easy job. See, they said, okay. So they asked a very important question. They said, so what are we going to get out of it? Okay, sure. What do we get out of it? What do you guys think the Prophet ﷺ said? Who wants to take a shot at it? Did you know? So the Prophet ﷺ said Jannah. That's it. That's all he said. He didn't say you're going to have money. He didn't say you're going to have power. He didn't say anything. All he said ﷺ was, I promise you Jannah. That's it. But they agreed on something. Because when the Prophet goes to Medina, if people attack people in Medina, they will have to fight with the Prophet ﷺ. But if the fight is outside of Medina, they don't have to go. Okay? So if the Prophet ﷺ fights in Medina, they will go with him. If not, they don't have to go. And this was the agreement. Khalas, deal, no problem. Let's do it. Now fast forward. Ghazwat Badr comes. Now Ghazwat Badr did not happen in Medina. As most of you guys probably know. It happened outside of Medina. So did the people of Medina need to fight with the Prophet ﷺ or no? They don't have to go. Right? But then came the time to fight and they went with the Prophet ﷺ. And they fought with the Prophet ﷺ. And Allah talks a lot about Ghazwat Badr in the Quran. But why does Allah talk about them? Allah talks about them, I think, in Surah Al-Tawbah. Sheikh, correct me if I'm wrong. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, السابقون الأولون من المهاجرين والأنصار والذين اتبعوهم بإحسان رضي الله عنهم ورضوا عنه وأعد لهم جنات تجري من تحتها الأنهار ذلك الفوز العظيم. Allah talks about them in the Quran. saying that they have Jannah. Allah forgave them and prepared Jannah for them. And later, many years later, the Prophet ﷺ was with some of the companions, and he said something. It's an authentic hadith. He says, perhaps لعل الله اطلع على أهل بدر وقال افعلوا ما شئتم فقد غفر الله لكم. The Prophet ﷺ said that perhaps Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala looked at the people of Badr and says, do whatever you want, Allah forgave you. But the question is why? It's simple. It's very easy. And that is because they did what was not required of them. You see, we have to pray 5 times a day, we have to fast Ramadan. That's all good. But the moment this ummah will get to its peak is when we do more than just what's required. Yani our masajid should not be talking about praying 5 times a day because we should be already doing it. Or fasting Ramadan because we should already be doing it. Yani we should get to the point where we start talking about let's pray Qiyamul Layl. Let's have a lot of uses in our masajid. Let's have more people who do more than just what's required. You know, Salah ad-Din al-Ayyubi before Hattin, he used to walk around the camps. And people will be sleeping, because you know, they'll be traveling for weeks and days, so the soldiers will be sleeping. Almost on their head. Not yet, still okay. And in the morning they will ask him, are we ready to fight? He says, no, not yet. And then the next day comes, and they're sleeping again. And they ask him, are we ready? He says, no, we're not. Until one time, he was walking around the tents, and he heard them reading the Quran. They were praying Qiyamul Layl. Again, they don't have to do it. It's not required. But then the morning came, and when they asked him, Ya Salah ad-Din, are we ready? He says, now we are ready. Now we are ready. But why? Because they did what's not required. They did more than just the minimum. And the thought that I just wanted to leave everybody with is that all of us here, we're doing kind of the minimum. Because alhamdulillah, it's Ramadan, and you know, Shaitan is chained up, and right? It's easy. But then what happens after? That's the question. Wallah, if the masjid is filled like that after Ramadan, wallah, you will see this community. Let's not talk about the ummah, let's talk about this community. If the masjid is filled like that after Ramadan, you'll see a completely different community. I promise you that. You know why? Because we started doing more than just what's required. Last point. Why did the Prophet say Jannah? I mean, at a certain point, during the Khilafah of the Muslims, we were very powerful. We had money, we had position, we had status, we had everything. We ruled it from the east and the west. But why did the Prophet ﷺ say Jannah and nothing else? Let's take a shot at it. Why Jannah? What else? That's a good answer. How many of you guys have seen Iron Man? So I know people hate using movies, references, but I love using movies because inshallah all you guys are good Muslims, you don't watch movies? I'm a bad Muslim, I watch movies. So how many of you guys watch Iron Man? Alright, so good. You guys know Iron Man? I'm going to ask the oldest person to raise his hand. Well, those who raise their hands. So, Stark Industries, right? Who started it? His father. Tony's father, right? Tony Stark, his father started it. You probably don't remember the movie. It's okay. So his father started it, right? But the whole legacy, the whole legend of the movie is Iron Man. But his father never got to see Iron Man. Right? The Prophet said Jannah for a simple reason. It's basically telling the companions, you might not live to see victory. You might not live to see Qadisiyah. You might not live to see an Andalus. You might not live to see that. But that's okay. Because you'll have Jannah. See, whatever work, I don't like to pick on you a lot. See, his father, Yusuf's father, started teaching him Quran or made sure that he learns Quran without knowing that whether he's going to see him leading Tawiyah or not. May Allah give you a long life. I mean, but he didn't see it. He doesn't know. If our goal is Jannah, we will never stop. Because we will never see the end until the end. جزاكم الله خير.